Welcome to another Vegan Edition podcast. Uh, I've been following this guy for a while now, and somehow he finally answered me. I have the pleasure to be sitting with Will Brooks. He is a vegan athlete. He is the founder of the Plant Based Warrior Plan. And of course, he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, which is why I found your profile so awesome. What's going on, man?
Not much, brother. I'm happy to be here.
uh, Listen, we were talking about that your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. How long you've been doing it for? I'm assuming 6 years, but what do I know?
Yeah, about 6 years. I have a wrestling background too. So, I've been on the mats since I've been, 14, 15 years old, but strictly jiu-jitsu for about 6 years.
So you're a wrestler too?
Yeah.
So you like to hug people. I'm a hugger,
Yeah,
man.
I'm a hugger. Yeah, absolutely.
So how did how did that start? Because you were 14 years old, you were old enough to take your own decision at that point. So you wanted to wrestle? Is that how it started? Or were you pushed
Yeah.
into it?
Yeah, no, my dad was a wrestler back in the day. And, my mom comes from a big family. I had six uncles. So her six brothers were all wrestlers out on the West Coast of Montana. So it's in our bloodline. They all did fairly well. My dad was a tank back in the day. So, I had tried basketball in middle school. I tried soccer. I tried all the sports, and I was always relatively athletic. But when I tried wrestling, I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the grind. I love the chase of having a more strong, powerful body. And I love that it was you versus an opponent. You didn't have any teammates out there with you. So, and I found that I was good with body mechanics. So when a coach would show a move, I would just catch it. A lot of guys would need to see it a bunch of times. You show me a move, I can see it. I can understand the way the human body works. And it just kind of grew into an obsession from there. So, yeah.
It's probably, when it comes to martial art, it's probably the best base you can have is wrestling.
It's
You
an excellent.
control where it goes. It either goes on the ground or it goes stand up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you take it to the ground, you can control the intensity of that too. So whether you want to, bring it to the ground in a controlled way or a really powerful, aggressive way, it's pretty good.
Suplexing somebody is a control.
Controlled destruction.
So are you still able to pick up men now that you lack protein because of your vegan diet?
Oh man, well it depends on how my bones are that day.
Because that's something I know from gyms. I've been in gyms for 15 to 20 years now, and I'm always the only guy. I'm always the only vegan. I don't share that unless you come and eat with me. You'll never know because I don't talk about that stuff at the gym. But uh, do you find it funny? Do your training partner stay? They're surprised when they learn that you don't eat meat.
Yeah, well, because of my Instagram profile, a lot of the guys there, probably all of them already know that I'm vegan.
Yeah.
But we get a new guy coming in, or every now and then there's somebody who they don't know. Yeah, they're always really surprised, and it's followed up with a volley of questions. But what's cool about my gym is a couple of the other guys, like some of the toughest guys in that school are vegan. There's two guys there right now who aren't vegan, and you wouldn't know if they didn't say it, but incredibly strong, incredibly fast and athletic, and their stamina is crazy, and that's basically all the same things that the guys say about me. So I think it's funny when you get someone who's never been vegan or maybe tried it for a week and they think, oh man, I had a guy on one of my last posts tell me he trains too hard to be vegan.
What
And
the hell does that mean?
you got to imagine all of the answers that came to my mind. And I try to keep it really professional with my answers, but sometimes people test my patience a little bit. And that one strung a chord because I told him, I was like, no disrespect, man, but there's Olympians and professional athletes out there who this is their life. And I promise you are not training harder than them. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's still a lack of knowledge in that area. general public, and it just means there's more work to be done. And luckily I like work, so I'm ready. I'm just going to keep working on it. Sometimes I know I sound repetitive on there, but that's just because there's still more people that need to learn that you can do this and excel. So
as a martial artist, the Game Changer, the documentary.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Because I used to follow that guy when he fought in the UFC. I don't know him, but I watched him fight all the time because he did win one of the UFC fighter. And I was like, damn, that guy became vegan. But I like the way how he explains how do you call it? I'm just thinking about a French word now, but your articulations are always swollen. How do you call that? They're
inflammation.
Inflammation. Thank you.
Yes.
Did you see a difference since you've stopped eating meat on your inflammation, especially when training?
That was one of the most profound physical benefits I've experienced, because up until the point where I had my spine fusion, I dealt with extreme tendonitis in my elbows. I had golfer's elbow and tennis elbow on both my arms. And it got to a point where I couldn't get rid of it. And I thought that I was going to have to either give up weightlifting or jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. Now I'm taking joint support, I'm icing, I'm stretching, and doing all of these things only really eased the pain by like 50%. Ended up blowing out my neck in the gym, doing heavy barbell lunges. And, I ended up having the surgery and I was out for 3 months while my body just was healing. My neck was healing, but I was also putting on fat and losing all my muscle. So I figured this was going to be my time to let my joints heal, right? Because I'm not doing anything. So when the doctor finally gave me the go ahead to work out again, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna hit the gym. And within 2 weeks, it was probably about 10 days, all my joint pain was back, like hard and aggressive, along with pain in my neck. And it was right around then I was like, okay, you know what? Because I had tried going vegan a couple times and my mind wasn't right at the time. I just kind of half-assed it. So at this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try vegan. I'm going to give it 100% effort. And I did it. And within 2 weeks, all of my joint pain was gone. And I'm talking the elbow and my pain, the pain in my elbows that I had plagued me for so long, and along with the pain in my neck from my fusion. So, and that's because the inflammation was basically down to zero. So that's been one of the most profound benefits I've experienced physically.
When was that?
That was 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
The surgery was about 3.5 years ago. Yeah. Winter, 3.5 years ago.
So that's when you decided to go vegan at that point?
Well, I decided to go vegan a little bit after the doctor said I could start working out again.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because a lot of people will say, you're a vegan athlete, you're only retaining the muscle that you had already built, which, obviously isn't true because there's athletes out there who have never even eaten meat and they're jacked. My situation's unique because I lost all my muscle because of my spine surgery.
Yeah.
And I built myself back to what I am now on plants. So very unique. Now, I don't know a lot of many other athletes that have done it that way, but that's my story. And I love when people try to say you just retain your muscle from being a meat eater. Well, no, because I lost all my muscle before I went vegan. So
I've been meat free for 11, 12 years now. And at my biggest, I was 215 pounds and I fought at 165. So I'm always I range around 195, 200 pounds. And the first thing, I haven't seen my boss in a while. The first thing he said on the phone when he saw me earlier, he's like, God damn, you got bigger. And that's just, it's bullshit. People just don't know. It used to be hard to be vegan. It used to be. It's not anymore. There's no excuses anymore. It's available everywhere.
It's so easy can you imagine the vegans in like the 60s and 70s? Like that talk about difficult, that you really had to be dedicated. Now you can be a junk food vegan. You can be a health nut, physical fit vegan. You can, whatever you can be like a mixture of both.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
I got one of my buddies that's not vegan, but and I'm not one to preach. I don't do you. I don't care what other people do. If it doesn't impact my life, I don't really care. And he admitted to me recently, like the last 2 weeks, he's like, dude, you have no idea how much less meat I eat. And it's because of the fact that I never say anything. He just watches me eat and he looks at me. He's like, how does that make sense? Because we've been lied to. We've been lied to for years that we need to eat that crap in order to be muscular. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I think that there's, people respond differently to different forms of influence.
Yeah.
You have, people who will hold signs in front of, maybe like a butcher shop. And then you have like the extreme version of that where people will throw blood at people wearing fur coats. And I'm more of along the lines of what you do. In my personal life, I only talk if people ask. My form of influence comes from my social media because that's where I talk about it the most. But a lot of people have told me that they have given it a try or even stuck with it because of how, I guess, chill I am about it. But really, that's how I get my message out the best. Some people can confuse that with, well, you're not a passionate vegan, or there's some kind of stigma about being a fitness vegan, like you're not doing it for the right reasons. And there's just a lot of negativity in that world. And I think that so many different people respond to other forms, better or worse. And you just have to find the way you sell it best is what you need to stick to. So I don't think that, because let's just say, I'm a fitness vegan, just because I'm a fitness vegan doesn't mean that I'm wrong. A lot of people who use the ethical leverage, which I do believe in. I am an ethical vegan. I love animals. But my platform is fitness. That's how I've known fitness for so long. That's what I've gone to school for. It's what I know. So that's what I use to preach. That's my tool. So to that point, yeah, people respond differently. And I love when people tell me you're just chill about it. And it makes me feel like I can do it. Because a lot of people think, well, I want to be vegan. I want to be plant-based, but I don't want to be like throwing blood at people wearing fur jackets. Like, do I have to be that extreme? No, you don't. You can do you and still be vegan and actually lead by example and inspire other people to do it too, just from being you and doing you. So
I'm a strong believer in showing the good instead of showing the bad. So instead of telling people what they shouldn't do, just show them what it's like when you do something so they can see the benefit out of what you're doing. Because if I take my shirt off, I go to the gym, they're not like, you're not. I'm 6'1", about 200 pounds right now. People don't think I'm vegan. They'll never know, but they would never know either. That's the thing. I don't care to talk about it, but I look no different than another gym rat at the gym. There's no difference. I might have better endurance and less inflammation because of it, though.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
But to show them that it's possible instead of saying you should do that because of this, and this. When's the last time you learned something by being screamed at?
Right. And I find it interesting too, because a lot of people will say, well, B12 this, vitamin deficiency that, protein deficiency. Okay, so of course there are things that you can fall victim to if you go vegan, but look at America. Look at all the people who are doing it wrong by eating products. People want to point the finger at vegans because you take a B12 vitamin. Listen, I plan on taking a multivitamin and protein powder the rest of my life. And that was before I was even vegan. You know what I mean? So going vegan, the vitamins I took really didn't change. But if you're going to come at me from kind of like a perfection standpoint, so many more people are doing it wrong on an animal-based diet than people are doing it wrong on a vegan diet. And people fail to realize that. You think the guy who eats nothing but chicken breast, broccoli, and rice, do you think he's not deficient in some form or another? I guarantee you he's probably deficient in at least 3 or 4 different areas, and people don't think of that. And, as far as overall health goes, just how I talked about in Game Changers, Wilkes did a really great job at covering this, just from eating whole foods, plant-based whole foods, you are checking so many boxes so many boxes in the health circuit. So, that's when people come at me with that, I have a box filled with responses, and I'm like, okay, which angle am I going to go this time? Because it's a target rich environment as far as responses go.
It's one of those things that as soon as you become vegan and you're aware of what you eat, you automatically your nutrition should be better. Especially if you're not one of the, like you said earlier, if you're not one of those junk food vegan. Because I know I've seen a lot of overweight people that are vegan. It doesn't make you skinny. But if you are careful about what you eat, which I've been for more than 20 years, as soon as I became vegan, it just step it up a notch. It's crazy. You have to be even more careful about everything.
Yeah. Well, and you know what I've noticed too, just from coaching people, is there's two different, when someone becomes vegan for the first time and they don't know what they're doing, there's two different forms. There's the junk food vegan who eats nothing but the processed food, and ends up gaining weight. And they're like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm getting fat. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where they want to do it healthy, but they don't realize that the majority of our food is going to be low calorie, but also filling. So you're filling up on less calories, especially if you're eating whole foods. And when they're not tracking and they're just kind of guessing, they end up losing weight. And sometimes it can even be too much. And people will say, well, I went vegan and I lost strength. All right, well, were you tracking your calories? No. Okay, well, were you tracking what you were eating? No. Okay, well, yeah, you have to make sure that you're in the right, you're changing up the way you're eating so much. You're replacing animal products for plant-based protein products. The calories are different, and you need to make sure that you're still within your correct zone if you want to make gains, or vice versa. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to make sure you're at a calorie deficit. Otherwise, you're not going to lose weight, vegan or not. So those are the two different spectrums I see, where people come at me and they're like, oh, this doesn't work. I tried it doesn't work. Well, let's talk about why it didn't work. It's the same rules that apply for all those people that eat animal products.
Yeah.
If you're eating too many calories, you're going to gain weight. If you're not eating enough calories, you're going to lose strength and size. It's science. It's nothing. It doesn't mean, it has nothing to do with being vegan. It's about how many calories you're putting in your body. So, yeah.
So the meal plan that you do, are they automatically higher in carbs? Because if you eat a lot of beans, like your ratio is like 1 gram of protein per 3 gram of carbs, give or take. Because I eat a lot of beans, that's normally where you're sitting at, like quick calculation.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the person, depending on what they were eating before they were vegan. I mean, a lot of people come to me and they're already eating high carb. I got a lot of people who come to me who are very keto focused. Carbs are super, super low. For the most part, yeah, a plant diet can be higher in carbs, but you got to remember, if you're getting your carbs from whole foods, I mean, these are clean, natural carbs.
Yeah.
I try to stay away from the processed stuff. And I just had a guy asking me today, well, I try to stay away from sugar. How do you feel about that? Natural sugar. I mean, my smoothies every day are crammed with blueberries, strawberries, bananas, and I'll eat grapes throughout the day. I love grapes pre and post workout. I love natural sugar from fruits, but processed sugar, yeah, I stay away from it. Some people argue, well, it's calories in, calories out. As long as you're within your range, you'll be okay. The processed stuff, I'm not scared of doing the process, but it's a very low percentage of the stuff I eat. I will do processed, but I'm not like fully whole food, but I will have some processed. But yeah, for the most part, I stay away from processed sugar. The natural sugar I love, and I'm not scared to eat carbs because I'm so active. That's our preferred energy source. And, being a weightlifter and a jiu-jitsu fighter, you definitely don't want to be skimping on the carbs.
I'm a big carb person. It's ridiculous the amount of carbs, but as you said, I'll eat bread on the weekend, but during the week, the only carbs I get is really from whole food. That's it.
And I find it interesting too, that people who are guys like us,
yeah,
active and love their carbs, we all have like a similar build. We have lots of lean muscle. You can see our muscle definition. And there's really nothing soft about us. There's a lot of people who are maybe not so active, or maybe they are active, but they're scared of carbs. Like, there's one thing guys like us have in common. We're active and we love our natural carbs. And I think that that's not on accident. You know what I mean? We look like this because we work hard and we fuel ourselves correctly. And I wish more people could understand that.
But I think there's a small genetic component too, because I feed well off fat and carbs. It doesn't matter. I can mix match as I feel like, and my body doesn't get impacted. I don't feel weak by it. I'm lucky. I'm one of those people that whatever I eat, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
When you were younger, was it hard to gain weight?
Oh shit, bro. I discovered the gym in college. I was 6'1", 140 pounds. I don't know if you guys work in pounds and inches, but I'm 60 pounds heavier than I was in college, and I've been 80 pounds heavier. And it's all natural. Like all I do, and even protein powder, I don't eat a lot of it. Like I do it sometimes, but I eat a lot. My plates are massive. I love to eat.
Yeah, I wrestled 152 my senior year, and in football I was like 160, 165.
How tall are you? How tall are you?
190, 195 right now.
But how tall are you?
5'11".
5'11". Okay, so you're a big boy. So you're 195 on 5'11", but you're lean.
I got some
always keep lean, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't really bulk and shred. I'll run mini shreds for vacations. You know, I drop my body fat because I hover right around 10% all year.
Yeah.
I go on vacation. I'll try to get down to like 9 or 8%, but I never do big, bulking and shredding. I maintain all year. So, for me, I feel like that's the most sustainable. It's obviously the most healthy. I don't like the yo-yo. Like I did plenty of that in school with gaining weight for football and then cutting weight for wrestling, gaining weight for football, cutting weight for wrestling. So, I'd rather just stay lean all year round, look good, have good energy. And if I feel like I want to drop a body fat % or 2 for vacation, that's what I do.
That's why I was laughing. I was laughing because you actually go on micro diets in order to look better when you take your food off on vacation. Not that you take pictures of yourself without a shirt on every day, right?
Yeah, I know it does seem a little ridiculous when you think about it.
No, I fully understand, because once you understand dieting, man, I was going 195, 200 pounds to 165, 170 in 6 to 8 weeks, no water cut, just pure diet. So I know what it is to shred, and doing it for 2 weeks intense before you go on a vacation, it's all good. It's feasible.
Yeah, I think it's really fun. Like once you learn your body, you know what you respond to. It's really fun to be able to fine tune yourself. And when you have that much control over how your body looks, it's a different level of interest involved. Once I learned how to fine tune things, whether I wanted to put on a little size or maybe I wanted to shred the abs up, it's just really interesting and entertaining and fun to be able to dial your calories back this much. This is what's going to happen. So I think there is that's my nerdiness, that's my nerd side coming through. But yeah, I think it's fun to be able to control where you want to go once you get it down to a science like that.
It's for the longest time I wanted to be 200 pounds. When I started the gym, I'm like, 200 pounds makes sense. And then after a while, all it became is the V shape, shoulder to waist ratio. And to this day, have you heard of the golden ratio?
Yeah.
So 1.6.
Yep.
This is all I live by. That's it. I don't care about the rest, as I'm the proper weight for my height. I could be a bit more shred, but I cheat too much on weekends. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I love chocolate cake, man. I'm a big fan of chocolate cake.
I love, once I discovered Chinese restaurants will make you all their dishes with tofu, it was game for me. So sesame chicken, sesame tofu, orange chicken, orange tofu, General Tso's chicken, General Tso's tofu. I am obsessed.
It's the sauce that's brutal, eh? It's not the tofu. The noodles can be okay, but man, the sauces are ridiculously high in calories.
Yeah, it's all sodium, sugar, and then when they fry the tofu, I mean, you're extra fat in there for no reason. But it's so good. It's so good.
What is your favorite meal, by the way? That's a good question.
Favorite Favorite cheat meal or favorite like healthy meal?
Ah, fuck the healthy meal. What's your favorite cheat meal?
I would have to say it's either got to be a really, really, really big pizza from we've got this spot out by us called Ohio Pico, and they make the best vegan pizzas I've ever had. They've got this one called the Kennedy, and if you are ever in Northeast Ohio for some reason, you have to try this place. Just trust me. But if not that, then I got to go with General Tso's tofu from Green Lake Chinese out in Painesville, Ohio.
You posted a picture of one of those pizzas on your Instagram, right?
Doesn't do it justice. Doesn't do it. It's it's a good pizza because it's heavy.
Yeah.
Substantial. It's really greasy. It's heavy, and it just has all the flavors you could want. It's filling. The cheese is good. They make their own cheese, their own vegan cheese in house, and I can't say enough good things about it. It's that good.
It's my favorite food, man.
Pizza?
For 5 years, all I had was a Friday. I had a 2-hour window on Friday, and I could eat whatever I wanted. It was always the same thing. It was always pizza every single time. And that pizza, I saw it earlier. Oof. That pizza on your profile looks ridiculously good. Damn.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. If you're ever out here for some crazy reason, you need to try that. That is the spot to go to.
Oh, it looked amazing. The pizza, and I'm hungry, and I was looking at that just before we started recording. I'm fucking starving, and now I got to go eat healthy food after seeing that. It's brutal.
I know, I'm getting hungry thinking about it.
It's, I live in the middle of the woods, and we don't have any restaurants that are vegan. I can go to the grocery store, and they have everything. There's a small company about an hour and a half from here that does seitan, and it's no preservative. There's like 6 ingredients. For years, I had to do mine, and now I can just buy it. It's super cheap. It's
all protein. There's like no fat and carbs in it. I have that probably every day.
I do too. At least once a meal, every supper, I'm gonna have some. When we hang up, I'll have some. It's gotta love seitan. Gotta love it.
Good. It's really good.
So let me ask you this: there's always a question that I ask everybody I speak to on the podcast, and I know from what you were saying earlier, I don't want to go into details about what we said before the podcast, but I have, by what you were saying, you had a interesting, we'll call it teen phase. It was interesting.
Yes.
If you had a chance to speak to your 14-year-old self, what would you tell him?
I would tell him that you're going to come into a time where you're going to want to party a lot, and you're going to get into drinking, and you're probably going to waste a lot of time doing that, and that you should focus on training. I tell my 14-year-old self to get into jiu-jitsu immediately. I tell him to focus on lifting weights and, creating a business at an earlier age, like I told you earlier, from probably my late teens all the way up to my 30s, I wasted a lot of time drinking too much. And I think that if I could have gone back in time and gave myself a heads up, I could have been a lot more productive with that time. But at the same time, I can't do that. So I try not to beat myself up over it. It's created the person I am today, which I'm really proud of. So, yeah. If you end up finding a time machine, let me know.
I asked that question just for that reason, because there's nothing you can do about it. I wouldn't change anything either, but I think it's a mental exercise I like to have every now and then, to see the stupid things I did when I was younger, looking at the people that I know that are still in that same lifestyle, and understanding where I am right now. It just reminds me why I do it.
Yeah. And there's times, where I still, like, for celebrations, I'll have some drinks, and I can feel that wild side wanting to come out. And like I told you earlier, I have such an addictive personality. The problem with that is that if I were to entertain that wilder side, eventually it turns into something where I have to apologize for my behaviors because I can't allow myself to fall back into that lifestyle. When I was in that lifestyle hardcore, what got me out of it was basically at the end of my run, I was doing things that were either embarrassing myself, I was hurting myself or hurting other people, whether that's with my words or my actions. And it just gets to a point where you're like, okay, am I really going to wake up every Sunday morning and have to make like 3 apology phone calls? It's just not worth it. So like I said, when I proposed to my wife, I had a little drink. Like I got a brother from another mother who just got married, and we got a little wild there. But, if I go camping, with my brother and my buddies and my dad, we'll throw back some drinks, but I don't go to the bars anymore. I'm not going on party buses. I'm not going out to the clubs with my boys. You know what I mean? So there's some touch and go there. I know myself and I know what I can allow myself, but again, it's a slippery slope because of that addictive personality. So, it's definitely a dance on thin ice that I do when I do that. But I've learned so much about myself over the past few years that I know when to pull back or to completely remove myself from that. So, and I think knowing that balance is huge.
How brutal is it to wake up on a Sunday morning not remembering what happened, and you have a feeling in your stomach that you did something shitty. You don't know to who, and you need to get in contact with the people that you partied with in order to figure out what the fuck you did.
Yeah, you wake up and you got a text message from your boy and all it says is dude. And you're like, oh God. Oh God. No, he's my first phone call. I guess I'll figure out what I did. But yeah, no, I'm not in any way, shape, or form missing that. And I keep that in the front of my mind too, because like I said, I know how laser focused my mind can get for things it likes. And in a lot of ways, it's a great thing. It helps me success in everyday life, but it also is a double-edged blade. So it's all about knowing yourself. If whoever's listening to this has that type of personality, you have to realize when to pull back or when to just change your environment completely to get yourself out of that mindset.
I think that's the key, what you just said. There's a couple of keys about what you said, because I've been through what you're talking about. I decided for years I didn't consume anything, absolutely nothing. And I came to realize that it comes down to what you said, knowing yourself and especially who's around you. There's enablers. Like my best buddy doesn't drink, but he loves to smoke cigars. So do I. So he'll come up to the house. We spend a weekend just smoking cigars, and I drink. I'll drink basically the whole time we're smoking. But because of the company that I'm with, I know that there's no problem. It's never gonna evolve to something that it shouldn't be.
Yeah, and I think you're the average. There's that saying: you're the average of your 5 closest people.
Oh yeah.
And when I met my wife, she is really a gift from heaven, and she's been pivotal in myself and me finding a better way of living. She's basically she's as close to perfection as you're going to get in my mind. And being that she's obviously the person I spend the most time with, she's a big influence on me. She has helped me so much in calming my partying down and getting more focused on things I'm passionate about, like fitness, jiu-jitsu, veganism. And it's been, I'm a totally different person now that I'm with her. And, obviously there's going to be people who say, well, she changed you. Well, yeah, she changed me, and for the better. I was going down a dark path there for a second, and I'm doing really, really well now. So I know a lot of my success is originated from her because of the influence she's had on me. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't give her credit. I always try to give her credit just because she's this continual source of positivity for me. And without her, I like I said, I'd be a different person.
One of my buddies always says that what a man truly needs is a cheerleader, somebody that's just going to be there to cheer you on.
I'm telling you, cheers me on. She keeps me focused. She manages.
Shit.
Yeah. Keeps out of trouble, bro.
Yeah, that's a good woman you have there, man. They're not easy. They're not easy to find.
No,
So
they are
good
not.
on you.
Thank you.
I'll make a clip of that portion and I'll send it to her.
Okay.
Just so she has
Points.
when you really piss her off, she can go on her phone and just okay, but he still loves me, so it's okay.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that.
I know you have man, I got a feeling this could go on for a while.
Yeah.
But I know you have a hard stop, so I'll cut it right there. But man, I gotta say, I really, really appreciate you taking the time. I knew you were this type of guy for some reason. I don't know why, but I had a feeling. So yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot for taking the time, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. It's been an honor. I'm glad that we finally got to do this. I wish we would have done it sooner. And if you ever want to do a part 2 in the future, just let me know. I'd be down.
Oh yeah, man, we should. And I want to travel. I got the bug for a long trip motorcycle, so I'd like to do one in the U.S. I wouldn't mind punching you in the face one day too.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
come out to the Gracie School and train with us.
Oh man, I would love it. I would love it.
We actually have where we're doing nogi. We're doing nogi tomorrow. And we put the gloves on. So, we do mainly jiu-jitsu, but we throw the gloves on and punch each other, man. Hey man, you want to come punch me? Come on.
I love to be able to tell someone that I want to punch them in the face and they take it with a smile.
What people don't realize is when you get two fighters that say that to each other, it's kind of like a high five.
Absolutely.
Wants to punch me in the face. Like, bro, I'd be honored for you to punch me in the face.
One of my buddies that still fights posted a picture earlier of one of his last fights. He went 15 minutes with a guy. He's laying on the ground. He's on his back. He's fucking exhausted. The guy that just split his head open grabs him. He's like, "Come on, bro, let's celebrate this fight." Like he's picking him up, and it's amazing because you don't understand that 2 seconds before that they were punching each other to a point, trying to knock each other out or to snap their arms. But as soon as the bell goes, "Hey, bro, come on, man, let's get it."
Yeah, there's a lot of respect that you gain from someone when you go at each other that hard and you give it your all and you feel the true strength of another man. It's a new level of respect. You know what that guy's capable of. And you're like, this guy, in a different time could maybe whoop my ass. Like you got to respect that. Not a lot of people even have the balls to get into a ring, and then you get in there with a guy who goes head to head, or maybe you barely beat him or he barely beats you. There's respect is coming from that.
It's a very humbling experience to know that you're not that great.
Yeah.
How many guys at the gym tap you?
Oh, plenty.
There you go.
It's funny because I remember my first class of jiu-jitsu, I walked in and I got my wrestling background. And at that time I was doing a lot of powerlifting. So I was denser and heavier, not as cut up. Yeah. And I walked in and I looked around the room and there was nobody in there that really looked intimidating to me, at least. And I was like, I'm just going to run through everybody. Nope. And my match, and they let me spar. They normally don't let new guys spar, but because I had a wrestling background and my brother was already there, they let me spar my first day. And I went up against a guy who was like 30, 40 pounds lighter than me. This dude tapped me out like 3 or 4 times in one roll. And it made my mind like explode. Like I left there feeling like a weakling, but it's what I needed because I wasn't this badass I thought I was. I'm so used to rolling around with my drunk buddies at an after party, and then I go to a jiu-jitsu gym and just get absolutely wrecked by a guy significantly smaller than me. It's humbling, but you know what? I needed that. And a lot of people need that.
A lot of people need that in life. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was my greatest teacher. Martial art is by far my greatest teacher.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, you get to a point where it's not like the journey of a white belt. It's nothing but getting tapped out. And I try to tell the new guys, your goal should be, all right, you got tapped out 10 times yesterday. Go for only getting tapped out 9 times. They're like, yeah, I want to get a submission, though. You're not there yet. don't rush the process, and then tomorrow or next week, focus on getting tapped out 8 times and then 7 times. And when you dwindle that number down enough, you may be at the point where you can start shooting submissions. But, I try to tell them, don't let the fact that you're not getting submissions discourage you from coming. It's a part of the process. And now, I'm a purple belt. I hand out a fair number of submissions, but I also get caught, and I get caught sometimes really easily, to the point where like it makes me frustrated. But that's that humbling nature that I need. Without that, I'd be a monster. I need to get beat, to remind me that you're not as tough as you think you are. But that's good. It's good for you.
And some of the biggest fighters have the biggest hearts too. Some of the most dangerous people I've ever met in my life have the kindest heart.
I'm telling you, that's my little brother. He's got his black belt a year and a half ago. He is one of the nicest, the absolute nicest human beings on the planet. I swear, that man is an angel from heaven. My brother is one of the nicest people ever, and he is a killer. Like, he is, but you would never know because he's so nice. He would only turn it on if he ever needed it.
Which is almost never.
Never. So that's never. Get a guy talking about how badass he is. I love to say it like this. How often do you see a Navy SEAL talking about how badass he is? You don't. You never see that. How often, outside of the UFC, professional fighters that need to smack talk, how often do you see black belts talking about how badass they are? It's rare. So when you get a guy really talking himself up, it makes me kind of look at him a little, because even as a purple belt, I'm obviously no black belt, but when I hear a guy talking like that, you sure, bud? Are you sure? Relax.
It's a little confidence issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn, we could go for a while.
Good.
You want it to be done at 6:01. We're stopping it right now so that your wife doesn't kill you.
Thank you.
Dude, it was a pleasure. We'll have to do this again. It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I had a great time. I feel like we could flow for hours.
Well, anybody that talks about diet, martial arts, I can go forever. 2 of my favorite subjects. So yeah.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do it again.
Absolutely. Thanks again, man.
Absolutely.